everyone for coming tonight. I wanted to tell you a little bit about why I decided to write this book, Smart People Don't Diet, How the Latest Science Can Help You Lose Weight Permanently. I also wanted to share a few of the lessons from the book, and then I'm happy to help you get your hands on a book, sign a book, or just offer you a glass of wine when we're all done. I think after this winter we've been having, we all deserve a glass of wine tonight. So if that's all you take when you leave, that's okay. I understand. I've been thinking about writing this book for several years now, and I think the ideas really came together for me as I was teaching my psychology of eating class at Rutgers University. Year after year, I found myself teaching this class and interacting with smart, engaging, interesting students, oftentimes who were trying to lose weight themselves. And it always amazed me the lengths to which people were willing to go to try to lose weight, especially smart, interesting, engaging people. And it wasn't just because they were young, because let's face it, how many of us haven't tried to do something a little bit wacky to try to lose some weight, right? Maybe your brother's wedding's around the corner, that high school reunion's coming up, bathing suit season, really bad part of the end of winter, perhaps. People often make not so smart choices when they're trying to lose weight. And if you don't believe me, perhaps you will after you hear about some of the latest fads in dieting. So I can't help but think in lists. Those of you who know me know this. So the first of two lists that I'll share with you tonight is a list of the top 10 dieting fads in the last few years. So number 10, I give to the ice diet. The ice diet prescribes that dieters chew ice, let it melt in their mouth, do this throughout the day, and hope that that helps to suppress their appetite. Number 9 goes to the feeding tube diet. Yes, literally, people have feeding tubes inserted into their noses, and then they consume only liquids. And they do lose weight, at least until they start eating solid food again. Number 8 is the baby food diet. The baby food diet recommends that people don't eat a regular breakfast and lunch, but instead eat baby food for those meals. And then for dinner, focus on vegetables. Number 7, the martini diet. It sounds more promising, right? Well, the martini diet prescribes that you can eat anything you want as long as it fits in a martini glass. In other words, your entire meal has to fit in the martini glass. Number 6 is the cotton ball diet. The cotton ball diet recommends that people soak cotton balls in their favorite fruit juices and then digest them, or try to digest them, to suppress appetite. Yes, people really do this, but please don't try this one at home. It actually can be toxic. Number 5 is the HCG diet. HCG is actually a hormone that people ingest, and this diet plan recommends that not only the hormone be ingested, which for reasons that I've never understood can be gotten over the counter, but in addition, people should only consume 500 to 800 calories per day. Number 4 is the tapeworm diet. This one has come and gone in popularity throughout history, but as the name suggests, individuals who attempt this diet usually swallow a pill containing tapeworm eggs, which then hatch and actually become your very own dieting pal. Number 3 is the blood type diet. The blood type diet suggests that individuals of different blood types will benefit differentially from exercise and eating regimens. So for example, a type O blood type should avoid gluten, according to this plan, and a type A blood type will benefit from yoga. Why not? Number 2 is the chewing diet. The but I'm just checking the number. At least 32 chews per mouthful of food until the food liquefies, upon which you should spit it out. And that's the chewing diet. And number one, I'm going to get to detox diets tonight. There are a variety of detox diets. Most of them recommend that you switch out 2, if not 3 meals for a liquid beverage that's typically pretty nutrient dense, but doesn't always taste good. A journalist writing for the New York Times actually described her attempt to detox diet as feeling like she was consuming everything bad that ever happened to her in high school, which I thought was a wonderful description of what misery this could potentially be. Now maybe some of these things really do sound crazy. I hope a few of them at least sound a little bit crazy. And maybe some of them sound very familiar. Maybe some of them even sound like things you've considered or actually tried. You wouldn't be among the minority if that were the case. But in writing Smart People Don't Diet, I think really my objective was to make it clear to people that we don't have to do these sorts of things. There actually is a better way. And by providing evidence-based information, I was hoping to empower people to make smarter choices at least most of the time, not necessarily every second of every day. And so for our second list tonight, I thought I'd share with you 10 of the facts from Smart People Don't Diet that I found to be most helpful or most useful in my own life, and that people have given me some of the most positive feedback about. So, starting again with number 10. Number 10 is dieting can actually make you gain weight. This is sort of a little known fact. People always assume that dieting will eventually work if you do it just long enough or well enough. But some research indicates that you're just as likely to gain weight from dieting as you are to lose weight. In fact, one study followed participants across 2 years. And on average, at the end of that 2 years, people who were dieting weighed more than they did at the beginning of that 2 years. Number 9 is that body hate is counterproductive. This is a little counterintuitive because typically people go on a diet because they don't like their bodies. They want to improve their body in some way. But research suggests that those who actually develop a sense of self-acceptance are usually more successful at weight loss. And so if you want to actually lose weight and keep it off, one thing that I prescribe in Smart People Don't Diet is to spend some time thinking about how to be a little bit more accepting and gentle with yourself. Number 8 is that dieting makes you cranky. This may be sort of less surprising because maybe many of us have experienced this on our own. But the interesting thing I find is that people often attempt to diet because they expect to feel better. They want to achieve a greater sense of both physical and mental health and well-being. And yet, there's really no data to suggest that people feel better when they diet. There is a little bit of evidence to suggest that just the act of deciding to diet makes people feel hopeful, right? In fact, in one study, people even said they were more likely to win the lottery on that day. They felt that good about life. But across days and weeks and months, there's just absolutely no evidence to suggest that people feel better for dieting. If anything, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that they just feel entirely empty. Number 7 is that dieting uses valuable brain power. And this is something people, I think, don't think about often enough. So when you choose to embark on a typical diet, or even some of the perhaps more radical ones I mentioned earlier, that involves a use of our brain power, or what scientists call bandwidth. And that bandwidth you don't get back, that's diverted to the diet. So research has actually examined dieters versus non-dieters and found that dieters, because they're distracted by the act of dieting, are less able to problem solve, less able to exert self-control, sort of ironic, and less able to engage in tasks such as public speaking even, because they're that preoccupied usually by just being engaged in dieting. Number 6 is that dieting leads to ironic processing. All right, so what's ironic processing? This is actually a phenomenon that's been studied by psychologists very extensively. And I think I can explain it best through the use of an example. So what I'd like you to do is to try not to think about chocolate for 10 seconds. Okay? Don't think about chocolate cake, or chocolate candy, or chocolate ice cream. All right, so ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. You're still not thinking about chocolate. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How'd that go? If you happen to think about chocolate even just once during that time, then it turns out you're just pretty normal. Because ironic processing is the phenomenon that when we try not to think about something, we're actually more likely to think about it. And this is why when we're trying not to eat something, we're actually oftentimes more likely to eat it. Number 5 is that some bad foods are good. And what I mean by this is that research suggests that when we allow ourselves to eat some quote-unquote bad foods, we actually overall may eat better. That may seem a little bit counterintuitive, but in some research comparing individuals who are allowed a moderate-sized indulgence every day even, they are more likely to lose weight and keep it off than the individuals in the same study who are not allowed that indulgence. So sometimes a little bit of bad maybe is good in the end. Number 4, this is a PG audience, so this is the what the heck effect, which is not a typo or anything. This is actually a phenomenon discussed by scientists who study dieting. And what they mean by this is that when individuals commit to giving up particular foods, usually as part of a diet, like donuts, depicted here. So if you tell yourself, I absolutely cannot have any donuts, right? And then let's say that tonight I had a nice spread of homemade donuts for you. And you decided, oh, what the heck, I'm gonna have a donut. What would be likely to happen is that you wouldn't just have one, you'd have 4 or 5. Okay? Because you would have already said, what the heck, I might as well. And if you hadn't made that commitment to avoid the donuts in the first place, you probably would have just had half a one or one. And so across time, that commitment, or that attempt to commit to avoid certain foods, leads people to these sort of extremes of, no, I can't, oh, whatever, I'll just do whatever I want. And it's all those, I'll just do whatever I want, or what the heck moments that actually cause more harm than the moments of being committed to not having those indulgences. Number 3, this may seem like a fairly obvious point about now, but I think it's worth reiterating. Diets just don't work. And I'm not against diets for theoretical or ideological reasons. I'm just completely against them for practical reasons, because the outcomes produced aren't lasting. And I think the main reason this is because most diets are based on a false premise. And that premise is that if we just behave in a certain way for a select period of time, we will lose weight, and that weight will never find us again. But the thing is, once we stop doing whatever that diet prescribes and go back to eating what's quote-unquote normal for us, guess what? The weight finds you. It comes back. That's not a successful diet if you ultimately end up gaining the weight back. And who is most happy when we gain our weight back? Dieting failure makes a lot of money for a lot of people. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry in the US with a 98% failure rate. Think about those numbers for a minute. If any other product we purchase failed 98% of the time, would we continue to purchase it? No. And yet, we're so desperate, maybe not us in this room, but in general, as a society, we are so desperate to lose weight that we are willing to keep going back and purchasing similar plans and products with the hope that one of them is finally going to do for us what none others have before. And in the process, we make an entire industry incredibly wealthy. And my final point brings me to the title of the book, Smart People Don't Diet, which hopefully is obvious now and sort of the moral of the presentation and the book. And I'm happy to answer questions about this or anything I've said tonight or anything that might be in the book. But before doing so, I did also want to tell you about the app that I hope to create that's a companion to the book. It's called Smart and Fit. And these are just some screenshots. Right now, it's just available on the Apple operating system. And on the book, there is a QR code and a logo and other information, so if you're interested in trying to get the companion app. It's purposely designed to be very simple, very accessible, and user-friendly, and it doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles purposefully, because it's our philosophy that you don't need all of those things to approach weight management in a healthy and long-term sustainable way. As Lucy said at the beginning, I just want to reiterate that a portion of proceeds from all book sales will be donated to the Food Trust. The Food Trust is located in Philadelphia, but their reach is national. And it's a really wonderful organization that helps to make sure that people have access to healthy food through things like farmers markets. They especially focus on impoverished and urban areas. And I've asked them to earmark any donations to contribute to educating kids about healthy eating. So hopefully we all do our very, very small part to help the next generation. So I'm happy to take any questions you have, or like I said, we have some refreshments and books and other things. And if you're interested in more information, I am online very much thanks to some of the students who are here tonight who help me figure out what's going on in the world online these days. They help me tweet